Hey everyone, I made an executive decision to add some more hiking to my original plan today. I'm out here at Hanging Rock State Park in the Piedmont of North Carolina, and originally all I was going to do is check out the frozen waterfalls today. I've already done 4 of them, I only have 1 left, and it's only 12:15 p.m. So I thought, why not add the Mooreswall Loop Trail to my hike? So I'm going to do 2 videos instead of 1. I'm at the western edge of Hanging Rock Lake, which is mostly frozen except for a big circle in the sunniest spot. And I'm heading towards Huckleberry Gap. And once I reach the gap, the loop trail starts its long climb up Huckleberry Ridge and eventually Moore's Knob, which is the highest peak in the park and the highest peak in the Sauratown Mountains. It also has a lookout tower, which I've been to multiple times. And the reason I made this decision was because it's a beautiful sunny blue sky day and I should get some great views from the top. And the trail is only listed at 4.3 miles. I think it's closer to 4.5. Either way, it takes less than 3 hours, so it's a pretty quick, although moderately difficult hike. So I hope you enjoy it. I'm glad I decided to add the extra miles in to give myself a workout. So I should be up in the forest pretty soon. At a major trail intersection, did a little bit of climbing on my way up here, but now the real climbing begins. The Torrey's Den Trail and Mountains of Sea Trail head west that way, in probably the least hiked area of the park, I imagine. And the Mountains of Sea Trail and Mooreswall Loop Trail begin climbing Huckleberry Ridge, starting now. I've named this area on my post Huckleberry Gap, but I actually don't think this area has any official USGS landmark, which is kind of odd because it is a deep gap separating Cook's Wall Mountain and Moore's Knob, and it is the high point on either side of these creek drainages, which would make it a good candidate for a gap name. So that's what I call it because I'm about to climb up Huckleberry Ridge. So I'll see you guys when I get some decent views and good rock formations higher up. That climb warmed me up. Almost at the summit. This really cool section of rocks on the south side. on top of the Moore's Knob Lookout Tower. One of the few open top towers in the state. Great views as always. I think this is my 6th or 7th time here. And because I wasn't planning on doing this hike, I didn't do any research last night, so I forget all the historical facts that I usually spew out in my videos. I do know that Moore's Knob is 2,579 feet, making it the highest peak in the Sauratown Mountains and the highest peak east of the Appalachian Mountains in the United States. The Sauratown Mountains are a very old range, separate from the Appalachians, with a east-west orientation. They're basically in 3 clusters. Hanging Rock State Park is the biggest cluster of these peaks. I'm looking at the easternmost peaks in the park. Hanging Rock, with its massive white outcrops rising high above the visitor center. And Hanging Rock Lake on the right. The smaller peak on the right is Flat Shoals Mountain, but obviously the star of the show here is Hanging Rock. This ridgeline here has Wolf Rock, which you can't see, it's on the other side. And then immediately south is the double-humped Cook's Wall Mountain. On the far left is House Rock, and then there's lots of cliffs on Cook's Wall. On the right is Devil's Chimney, which is the main cliff overlook looking west, and then it drops very steeply into Huckleberry Gap. Then the trail rises here to Huckleberry Ridge, and then looking west at the Sauratown Mountains. The foreground is Sauratown Mountain with the towers on it. The peak is unfortunately off limits, but behind it is the iconic Pilot Mountain. On better visibility days with less haze, I could actually see Mount Mitchell, Grandfather Mountain, Elk Knob State, Snake Mountain, and Mount Jefferson to the west here, but today I can't. I am looking into the Yadkin River Valley. The big ridge immediately west is part of Doughton Park and Stone Mountain State Park. Then on the right is Fisher Peak, around 4,000 feet, which straddles the North Carolina-Virginia border and is the high point of 2 counties. The Blue Ridge Parkway follows the Blue Ridge Escarpment to the northeast here. Due north, this massive hump mountain is Buffalo Mountain, just under 4,000 feet. And further north is the origins of the Dan River. This is kind of the Dan River watershed here. And to the right is the Mayo River watershed. This big peak due north is Bull Mountain. And on the right, I believe I can see Rocky Knob, which is part of the Rocky Knob recreation area in the Rockcastle Gorge. Outstanding 360-degree views from Moore's Knob. I'm finishing up the hike with a little extra detour around Hanging Rock Lake. I don't think I've ever taken this fishing access trail around this side of the lake, oddly. Just adds probably an extra few hundred yards, but it's very peaceful.
I don't want to stand on it.
All right, just finished the hike. That last segment was at the pier at Hanging Rock Lake, and I was looking at Moore's Knob, and you could see the tower pointing out above the trees at the top. Took me just under 3 hours, but I was at the summit for 45 minutes or so. But I'm glad I took that detour. Now I'm off to finish my frozen waterfall quest.